All right, the hearing is now open in the case of Social Security numbers. And the hearing is being held approximately 9:45 on November 6, 2014. And we are in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm Judge-Colpitts, the Administrative Law Judge for the United States, and I'll be evaluating the evidence in the record and the testimony I'm about to hear this morning. Case before the Office of Hearings and Appeals on a request for hearing that was filed on July 19, 2010. The claimant is present. He's being represented by Mr. Robert Fleming. Also present is Mr. George Burke, who is the attorney for the United States Social Security Administration. And the issue involved is the determination of an overpayment, which is somewhat confusing as far as what the actual figure is and where it came from, but we'll discuss that and bring it out in testimony. Mr. I'd ask you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now we can do the 200 exhibits. 1 through 94. Which do you have any objections to those, Bob?
No objection.
All right. I will admit those into the record, and I'll let you go ahead and try to explain to us what's going on.
Okay. What happened? It started. He found disabled in late 1993 for mental illness. In 1995, Mr. returned to work. He notified Social Security, provided with all pay stubs and so forth. However, in 1994, he received a workman's comp settlement check in the amount of $3,600 for injuries received prior to his disability onset date in 93. Social Security counted the workman's compensation $3,600 check as earnings, and they prorated it over a period of 12 months or so. So they had his trial work period from January 1, 94 through the 9-month period into this extended period of eligibility, determined he had an overpayment and a cessation, roughly overpayment from April 95 to 12 of 96, and later on they determined another one from July of 99 to October of 04. The 99 through 04 period was the period when Mr. incarcerated, and at that time he wasn't receiving benefits. He has no family that was receiving benefits, and Social Security, to the best of his knowledge, was aware that he was in jail. When the appeals council remanded it, the judge had noticed the decision, Mr. not without fault. They raised the issue that he had completed a work report noting the fact that he had returned to work in 95, which wasn't mentioned in the judge's decision. During the course of the overpayment, benefits were ceased. He had to reapply and was placed back on. When he was put on under expedited process returning to a disability, he had a back award of about $33,000. The $33,000 was taken and applied to the original overpayment of $34,000, and essentially, I think the balance, when it came down to, was around $200. That's why it was expedited to the ALJ level. Mr. Just simply saying, since the original overpayment was incorrectly calculated, he was requesting the return of the $33,000. He has gone to Social Security just within the last 2 weeks, spoke to a representative there. They acknowledged the overpayment was incorrectly calculated. They're going to recalculate it, put it into the system, but they haven't determined exactly what the new overpayment amount will be.
And they're taking into account the $34,000 payback?
Yeah, they're going to look at that too, yeah.
So that's pending.
Right.
What office are we dealing with?
Henderson?
Henderson.
That's a good thing. Henderson is usually pretty
A
sharp.
little better, yeah.
A little better than the others. All right. George, what do you need to know?
Do we have anything in writing about that?
About the last...
About the 94 workers' comp? I know there's something in the record that a report back in the day, whenever it was, where the employer had said it was... Right, this is what I'm referring to. We do have that.
Oh, okay.
And it said it was third-party sick pay.
Right.
And that was only put down for like 2 months.
Right.
Did you just receive one workers' comp
One
lump-sum
check,
payment?
yeah.
Okay. Have they issued an actual determination about the 94 stuff, or
You mean as far as...
put anything in writing and put it in the mail?
No.
Okay. Nothing's official till they do that.
No, yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head, when he went through the expedited reinstatement process, do you know what months he was given expedited benefits for, or expedited reinstatement for?
Not offhand. I'd have to take
I was trying to find the notice and I couldn't for that. I thought somewhere it said from sometime in 06, and that it didn't actually come through until 09, because in 07, September of 07, it's Exhibit 41 in the record, it says, we will pay you provisional expedited reinstatement benefits starting September of 07. Then the 6 months for that was over as of March of 08, and I think they stopped.
Right, I got, my last check was in, well, they sent me a notice in February letting me know that in March I
Okay.
would receive my last check.
And then when did they reinstate you, if you remember?
I believe it was April of 2009.
Okay, and
10, I believe, 10.
April of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You mean when they reinstated the payment?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was around then. 'Cause I received a notice in the mail telling me how much I would get and when.
Do you have that with you by any chance?
This was in 2011. I don't know if you want that.
No, that's okay. Wait, I'm just looking for the one where they first told you they were going to
Okay, I know.
reinstate your benefits.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, the closest one is 56-1. It's just payments. Next check you will receive 79, which is the money you are due through May 2010.
April 7th, 2010. No, that's a waiver request. It's a response to that. Okay, here we go. August 30th, 2010. That's that's exhibit number 15
Well, that's,
for you guys.
yeah, that's-
You want to see it? Here you go.
no, I have that,
Yeah.
and
This was the letter that I received.
what I was trying to figure out was which months went into that back payment. Now I'm getting myself confused here, because I was referring to the waiver determination of May 6, 2010, which is Exhibit 12.
That sounds like the date that I got the letter, May 6th.
Where they
And they sent me the first letter.
they said $34,457 was collected from retroactive benefits for expedited reinstatement, awarded 12/10/09.
Oh, I didn't get a notice for that.
And I hadn't been able to find. I was trying to find out which months were involved in the entire expedited reinstatement process. But
I haven't
okay,
come across that at all.
okay. Well, if we don't have it, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got March 8th, 2010. We are writing you to give you new information about your disability record. We can pay you beginning September 2006.
Oh, look, can I see that?
I think that's the first one I got. Yeah.
March 8, 2010. Okay. Yeah, if it could have been a snake, it would have bit me. I'm sorry.
You need it? You need a copy?
No, sir, we have it.
Oh.
And I have it written down. I just lost it in the morass here. Okay, sorry for the confusion.
Is there anything we can do until Henderson comes out with figuring?
Well, the only thing the appeal counsel was interested in is fault. That was their whole issue with this. Is he at fault or not? Previous judge said no. They don't think the judge gave weight to the report that he filed, noting that he had returned to work and gave him the dates and so forth. And then they just simply asked for additional records as well as an updated overpayment waiver. But it really came down to fault.
Kenneth do this?
Pardon me?
Kenneth did this initially?
No.
No, it was remanded here once. Judge Kennett got it, but the appeals council revoked it, sent it back, because at first they couldn't find the file. When they found it, they said, just cancel what we just said before, send it back to us, and that's when they did when they looked at the file and came across the workman's report.
I remember I worked with Judge Kennett in dismissing the request for hearing at that time because the appeals council was taking it back.
Yeah.
We'd never had anything like that before.
I got the green pen writing thing.
Yeah.
The AC lost the damn file. Okay, what's next?
Okay, well, I mean, really, his argument is simply that he provided Social Security with all notices of his return to work. So the appeals council seemed to acknowledge it. His argument is simply that Social Security miscalculated when they came up with the initial overpayment by crediting, arguing that it started in 94, it should have been 95. And since the first overpayment was incorrect, all money should be returned pending calculation of the corrected overpayment.
Let me ask you, if I could, about the period of incarceration from July of 99 to October of 04.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that at? Where
That
were you
was at
incarcerated?
FCI McKean in Bradford, Pennsylvania. And FCI Milan.
FCI Milam?
Milan, Michigan.
Okay. And you're saying that you didn't receive any Social Security
sir.
benefit payments then?
No, sir.
Do you remember at the time, before you went in, were Social Security payments being made to your account? Did you have direct deposit?
Yes, sir.
Okay, was there anybody else on your account?
No, sir.
Did that account remain open while you were in, or?
No. The overpayments that they're talking about from prison were when I was being held at first, and they had stopped my payments, but I hadn't been convicted, so I wrote them a letter and told them that I hadn't been convicted and that I was just being held at that time and that my payments should continue, so they cut them back on. And then when I returned home and I got out of prison, I went to Social Security and signed an agreement to pay back $1,861 for I think 3 checks that I had got while I was in the county jail, and that was it.
Okay, I'm going to try and get a little better timeline here on what happened. Okay, when were you arrested? And you went to county jail at that time?
Mm-hmm.
FCI is
45.
federal. Pardon me?
Go ahead.
FCI is federal corrections.
Yes, sir.
Institute, right, yeah. Okay. So you went to county jail for how long?
A couple of days. I was there for 18 months while we prepared for trial. And at that time, my prosecutor, he had been in contact with Social Security about my payments. So they had stopped my payments once I had gotten convicted and sentenced.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves there.
Okay.
So during the 18 months when you were in county jail awaiting trial, was Social Security paying you then?
Not for 18 months.
Do you remember for how many months they did pay
3
you?
months. Because they, like I said, there was a $1,800 overpayment because of the prison situation there.
So when did you have your trial? When were you convicted? Okay, that's what they're referring to as the first month of the overpayment from July 99 to 10,000 or October 04. And if you go first to McKinney, to FCI McKinney. McKean?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. K-E-E-N, M-C-K-E-E.
M-C-K-E-A-N.
A-N, okay, thank you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long were you there?
I was there for about 2 years. And then I went to FCI Elkton,
Elton,
Ohio. Elkton.
E-L-T-O-N?
Yes.
No.
E-L-K.
E-L-K.
T-O-N.
Elkton, okay. Elkton, Ohio. And how long were you there for?
About a year.
And then where'd you go?
I went to Farrington, New Jersey. FCI Farrington.
And for how long were you there?
About 9 months.
And then where'd you go?
Home. I was on supervised. Well, I went home for the 6 months halfway house.
What's FCI Milan in Michigan?
That's a low facility. Federal Correctional Institution.
Okay, were you there?
Yes, sir.
And when
I was there doing the pre-trial and doing the investigation part. I never did time there. I just was there doing the pre-trial part of it.
Milan was before the conviction in July 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Then the halfway house was in Michigan.
Yes, sir.
Where in Michigan?
Detroit.
6 months there.
6 months.
And did you give me the name of that place? I'm sorry.
The halfway house?
Yes.
I don't even remember.
Okay. That's all right.
It's been so long.
Okay, so you were at County and or Milan, then at McKean,
FCI McKean.
FCI Elkton,
No, I went to, FCI McKean, then Elkton.
then Farrington, then the halfway
home.
house.
Yeah, then halfway house.
Okay. At any time while you were at McKean, FCI Elkton, FCI Farrington, or the halfway house, did you receive Social Security benefits?
Sir. No, sir.
Did anybody receive Social Security benefits that would have been intended for you?
No, sir.
And if Social Security's record says otherwise, they're wrong.
I don't believe it would say otherwise because I paid the overpayments that they said
The
that I
$1,800.
owed because I was in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, it was $1,861. I paid them $50 a month for that. And I believe they added the provisional payments to the overpayment because they gave me the 6 months provisional.
Right.
And I think that they added that on to the overpayment. When they recalculated it, they added the $1,800 plus the provisional payments to the $33,000, which brought it up to about $34,000.
Okay.
Even though I had paid it. I had two other overpayments prior to this 34,000. One was for 1,800, and the other one, I believe it was for $2,000 or something like that.
Okay. When was the $1,800 you're referring to? Was that the one for while you were incarcerated?
Right.
Okay. When was the $2,000?
That one too.
While you were incarcerated.
I believe so.
Okay.
I think I got it right here. I don't know if you have this, but you can look it up. It starts right there. July 99.
Okay. For the record, this is from the claimant's master benefits record. And the highlighted part that he's shown me is it's labeled PRSN DATA, which I'm assuming is prisoner data. And it says suspense start 7/1999, confined type prison. Suspense stop 12/2004. So that's the period that they're talking about in the overpayment that they found here.
Okay.
So I think we're on the same page.
But there was no time that, I received payments for years while I was incarcerated. Nothing like that. So. Because it seems like they're writing like I got paid while I was in prison. And the BOP is not having that. You can't collect Social Security and be in prison at the same time.
They don't have direct deposit into your account.
Even if it was direct deposit, the BOP, they cross-check to make sure that the inmates are not receiving any type of public assistance. Plus, like I said, prosecutor, he had already talked. He was aware that I was on Social Security, so
Okay.
he made contact with them and let them know. I believe I have the reports here that they sent to Social Security in reference to that. Here you go. There you go.
Okay, I'd like to make a copy of this. I'll bring it back to you when we're done here. This is
You want a notice of my release on arrival? This is
no,
from
that's
prison.
okay. We got
Okay.
everybody's on the same page on
Okay.
that. This is dated September 22, 1999. Prison inmate alert. Well, I'd have to read it a little closer, but I'll make a copy of it and give it back to you.
All right.
That's all I have, Judge.
All right. You got anything more? No?
Actually, from 1995 to 1996, did you get any mental health treatment?
Yeah.
You were seeing doctors? while you were trying to go back to work?
Yeah, I was on medication.
But your records or your statements at that time know that you were having trouble at work? Jobs weren't lasting very long?
Not really. I wasn't really that well. You know, I tried to work, but something about it I just never really worked out for me. You know, I got a short temper, short fuse, and
No, nothing further.
So
I'd like to go back to work if we can get this overpayment out of the way, because I don't want any more confusion. You know, I would really like to work if you know, I want to.
You got the Henderson people are working on getting things ironed out.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah, right. They should come up with the correct amounts and things like that,
All right. I would just say when you hear from them, we'll let you know, or let us know, and vice versa, whatever. And we'll take it from there.
So we're not gonna deal with the fault issue or defeat the purpose at this point, right? We're gonna wait for them.
Wait for them to make the final calculations so that everything is all done at the same time.
Well, you completed a new
Yeah.
overpayment recovery questionnaire, yeah.
So we doing this all up. I'm filing a new waiver request.
No.
No.
They wanted an updated one per the appeals council.
Okay.
That's all done. We just take a break. We're gonna, when we get the paperwork from Henderson, we don't need to come back and meet again.
Okay.
We'll just get all the paperwork, get it all on the same page, and I'll get you a decision. Let me ask you one question. What are you using? What's your mailing address? That's where you get your mail, right?
Yeah.
That's where I live.
Okay. Okay, thanks.